Hello, I'm called Tim, and it's around noon. It's actually noon on the dot today. I got it right. I told you I'd get it right eventually. Uh, and today I'm going to be reading from Quantum Enigma, Physics Encounter with Consciousness. You can see the authors there, and this is the second edition. There are probably more editions out by now, better editions. I would suggest you can see if you can find this book, get it, read it. But I'm going to read a portion that talks. Schrodinger is talking to a colleague about wave particles and atoms. And in quantum mechanics, it says, or quantum physics says, that we are wave particles. But you'll get it in the reading, and then we'll talk about it a little. Schrodinger says, the Copenhagen interpretation is a cop-out. Nature is trying to tell us something, and Copenhagen is telling us not to listen. Quantum theory is absurd. But sir, your theory works perfectly. No prediction has ever been wrong, so everything's okay. Come now, I look and I find an atom someplace. The theory says that just before I looked, it wasn't there. It didn't exist at that place. It didn't exist at any particular place. That's right. Before you looked to see where it was a wave function. Just probability. The atom didn't exist at any particular place. You're saying my looking created the atom to be at the place I found it. Well, yes, sir, that's what your theory says. That's silly solipsism. You're denying the existence of a physically real world. This chair I'm sitting on is a very real chair. Oh, of course, Professor Schrodinger. The chair is real. Only the properties of small things are created by observation. You're saying quantum theory applies only to small things? No, sir. Your equation applies to everything. But it's impossible to do an interference experiment with big things. So for all practical purposes, there's no reason to worry about the reality of big things. A big thing is just a collection of atoms. If an atom doesn't have physical reality, a collection of them can't be real. If quantum theory says that the real world is created by our looking at it, the theory's absurd. Now, we've gone forward in quantum physics that we know that we are basically wave particles. And the one thing is that when you're looking at large things, everything is made of atoms. We learned that in school. Even in our public schools, our mediocre public schools taught us that everything's made of atoms. And atoms grouping together create larger physical things. So I'm atoms, the computer I'm on is atoms, the camera I'm looking at is atoms, you're atoms. Probably trillions of atoms, but atoms. And quantum physics says that that's really what we are, we're atoms. And it's only when we observe things that they become real. Now you can take this to so many avenues. This is so beneficial because, for one thing, we focus so much on our flesh and bones. But our flesh and our bones are made of atoms, which is energy. So if we are energy, then we should not be thinking about what our flesh and bones are doing or what our flesh and bones look like. We should be thinking about which way our energy is flowing. See, this is the shift that we're going to have to make in the 21st century if we're going to stick around and be a part of the rest of the natural world. In the natural world, I mean, that includes the cosmos. So, for instance, how do you use this in practical day-to-day reality? We are spending so much energy, so much time and space on our physical bodies, and less energy, time, and space on things, principles like justice or equality or the rules of nature itself. I'll give you a perfect example. Why does a person, say an entertainer or an athlete or something, hit big and say, I have $5 million, I'm gonna go buy a 6-bedroom house with 5 bathrooms. And then he and his wife, or she and her husband, live in that house, and that's it. They're hardly ever there because they're entertainers, they're on tour or whatever. If they're athletes, they're always playing in other cities, always in the hotels. So why would you spend your time and energy and resources on having a big place that you're not in? Because you're so focused on, I want when people see me to know that I have XYZ. When they see these flesh and bones that we all call whatever, I want them to know and look up to me. And that's the wrong way to have your energy flowing. You should be flowing on, how much space do I actually need to perform justice? How much space do I actually need to perform empathy? This kind of shift in your thinking will take you from saying, well, I don't need the mansion. All I need is really a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen. That's all I really need if I'm one person, right? But what I do want to do if I'm in playing for, let's say, the LA Lakers, and I'm a multimillionaire, there are 90,000 homeless people. So can I buy a warehouse and house them so that now I'm performing empathy with my energy, with my wave particles? You see how the difference is? We need a shift in our thinking. We're spending way too much time on hair, way too much time on clothes, way too much time on worrying about, am I too fat? Am I too skinny? Am I too tall? Am I too short? And none of that matters. The only thing that matters is where your waves and your energy is flowing. And if it's flowing toward the physical, it's dense, which means you're dense. You can't be enlightened when you're dense. And there's a saying, you see a person and you see, oh, they're kind of dense. It means they're not completely stupid and dumb, but they're a little, not altogether there. They're not light in their mental, light on their thinking. They're not flexible, is basically what it means. So if we're going to sustain ourselves, if we're going to live on this planet and the planet is not going to wipe us off of it because of our destroying it, we're going to have to shift our thinking to wave particles, to energy, and which way we flow or not. That's why at the beginning of every of these hangouts, I always say, I'm called Tim. Because this physical structure you see was named Timothy by the woman who was called Dorothy. And the man who was called Joe Evans decided to leave, to take his energy somewhere else. And this is the way we have to start thinking too for our own sanity, because I don't know how many black boys they suffer from abandonment issues, which is a waste of energy. And you try to tell them, well, if the father shifted his energy toward injustice and indifference when he left you, because that's what he did, when you think about what he did, or you spend a lot of your energy on that, you're shifting your energy toward indifference and injustice on yourself, because you're thinking, oh, he did this to me, he did this to me, he did this to me. No, he shifted toward a certain set of principles. That's where he chose to put his energy. You have to put your energy in another set of principles. This is what keeps you from doing it to your child, and this is what keeps you from destroying yourself. So I love this book. This is one of the best books I've read. This, along with the Mental Mentor, Volume 1. I keep these two right there near the shelf. Um, there's some other books, and we're going to go through some of these books. I have a book of Dictionary of Theories, and we're going to go through that book. And we're going to go through the dictionary because people need to know the meaning of things. I told you I'd get to classes. I told you I'd get to education and lessons. And here we go. Quantum Enigma. If anyone in my chat room or viewers would like to speak, speak now. If ever hold your peace. Going once, going twice. If you want to support me, click the GoFundMe link. Go to my GoFundMe page and donate what you can. If you donate certain amounts, you get certain gifts. So make sure you check that out. But I will take any amount. No amount is too small or large. If you are sane, keep your head up. It's not you, it's everyone else that's the problem.